Okay, good evening, everyone. This is Jess Markowitz. I am, it's September 28th, and we are only 3 days away from the end of our September month, and this has been our absolute biggest month of the year, as well as with many of you, as well as in my organization. This has been the best month with the whole company and since I've been in business. There's just a lot of people that are coming on board. There's a lot of sales happening, all while we're having lots of company kind of challenges at the same time. Because we have so much business happening, we have things going out of stock. We're having some issues with, shipping's a little bit delayed, things like that. But one thing I talked to our leaders earlier this morning about is called growing pains, guys. If you do not have any if you're comfortable, that means you're not growing. But when you're growing, you're usually uncomfortable. So that's where growing pains comes from. So if you feel like you're kind of out of your comfort zone, that means probably your business is growing. I had a little bit of an overwhelming moment today too, that, these are all new systems and new things that I'm not used to. I have way more online orders than I've ever had in my career, and keeping track of them and sending out, doing more mailers than I normally do just for the online parties and stuff. So I feel all your growing pains along with you guys. So I don't want you to think you're going through that alone. I do want to go over just some things that this week, since we spoke last, that have been came through the news tab. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see what I'm looking at. But I hope you guys are doing this on your own, but I think it is very important to make sure that you're watching all this. They announced what to expect on October 1st. The launch is going to be at 12:01 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So depending on where you are in the US, we do have some people in different countries. So you just kind of figure out what that time frame is to you ahead of time, so you're not kind of freaking out on that night. The nice thing is that as you grow your business, you'll find that you'll tend to stay up till till the end of the month, till midnight, because you're helping team members, you're watching numbers. Sometimes you're closing the last minute of, parties and whatever, closing last orders for late customers. So you'll get used to that. That's kind of a part of the end of the month. And then you just kind of roll right into placing your first order for that first day at 12:01. But until you kind of get into that system, it is hard. So I feel for everyone this is all new to you. But the reason why they do that is because just the way the clock works from the workstation. It works on Pacific's time, and because it's a new season, a new catalog, and it's a new month, everything rolls over at 12:01. So that's just the way it works. You will find that some LTOs get launched later in the day, like 9:30 to 10:30 in the morning Pacific Standard. But when they're transferring a whole collection over and adding that on and starting a new month, that's they go by the Pacific time frame, just so you guys know. So make sure that you're reading these details. I will tell you, I'm one that skims, and I always regret skimming because I miss a detail. So just take it from me, learn from me. Make sure you read this in detail so you know what's happening on the first as far as launch. They did send out an addition to the holiday, and it gave an update about some products that you may have on pre-order that you may have planned to place the order on the 1st, but now these specific items are not going to be available till October 19th or early November. Again, please remember that your business takes the tone of you. So if you get frustrated, if you show a mindset of you don't understand why this is happening, then your clients are going to feel the same way. Just know that our business is growing in extreme levels. Our direct sales company is one of the only that has grown 90% since last year. That is absolutely incredible. Literally other direct sales companies are calling our owners saying, what are you doing? What is happening? Because they're literally going behind last year's numbers. They're dropping. So we are in the right business. Here's something that I want to make sure. This was actually announced earlier last week, but since our last Monday call, this is something that's additionally, I think, is awesome, that they're now going to be sending emails for us whenever we place an order, as long as the email address is in there. So that's another reason to say, can I please get your email address? Not only they're going to be on your newsletter, but also you will be notified when your order is placed. So that kind of helps you, because when you're collecting orders with a party, you, just to remind you, or if you're brand new, you have 5 days, take the business out of there, 5 days from the day you collect an order of payment to place the order. Here's the thing, guys. When somebody gives you an order form and gives you credit card information or gives you a payment, they think you're placing the order that day. Unless you are educating them very specifically and saying, you know, your hostess isn't closing until Saturday. I'm taking your order now, but I will be placing the order on this day. So they're not counting, you know, when they say, when is my stuff going to be in? And you're saying about 10 business days is when the shipping time will start. They're counting the day they're handing you the order. So you need to clarify that, you know, yes, I'm taking the order now, but it's not going to be placed until this date. And if anything changes, make sure that you're educating them. And that's why you also wanted a phone number so you can let them know. Right now, we have things flying out and out of stock left and right. Just the other day, I was closing an order on Saturday. I was looking on my website. The lady said, do you have vanilla bean buttercream Scentsy bar? It was available as I was looking at it. An hour later, I went to go place the order and it was gone. So just make sure the more education you give them, the more likely they're going to be willing to understand. So it's just when they think something's going to happen and it doesn't. So when we say things are going out of stock pretty fast right now, we're in a really big boom of growth. You know, we're selling a lot more than normal. COVID was definitely an opposite effect to our business than everybody else. We are, you know, tripling our business. So this may be out of stock when I go to place the order. Can I please have your email address and your phone number so I can contact you, just in case I have to ask you to replace a different bar, or if you want to wait or whatever. And then this email address is going to email you when I actually officially place the order, so you can keep track of a timestamp. That is a huge, huge thing, guys. We've always had it for online orders, but now that we have workstation emails going out when things are being placed, that is super cool. So take a look at that structure in your news tab. There's other things in here, obviously, product lists. What I would do is, if you're at a party physically or on a Zoom or whatever, and you're taking orders, I would definitely just skim through this to see if anything that they ordered is on your list. I was talking also to our leaders earlier today. We do a leadership call every Monday. And this is also, I always talk to you guys about, there's 2 sides to everything. You definitely want to be aware of what's available and what's not, but you don't want to be stalking the product list, because that's going to stress you out. You don't want it to be something that you're, you know, not having fun anymore and anticipating it to be gone. So just run your business, share your products, and then before you close the order, take a little scan, or once you get their order, you go home and you grab whatever, take a little scan. Oh, that was out of stock, my bad, you know, and this is when it's going to be back in. And then and again, it's all about communication. Our official titles are consultants. So we consult them. That's all we're doing. Is we're not the ones that go and take the product off the shelves. We're like the middleman. If they don't like that we're waiting, 5 days to place the order with our host, and they want their stuff right now, they either need to go online and place an order, or they need to become a consultant so they can place their orders themselves, so they don't have to worry about the middleman, right? So that's a great other way to introduce the business to them, is saying like, look, I get it, but I have to go by my host. But that's why I became a consultant, is I just want my stuff. I don't want to wait for my consultant to tell me when I can place the order or whatever. And you just never know what is going to make the person say, yeah, I think I just want to do this myself. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm super excited to introduce my friend. She has been doing so amazing with her business. She just joined this year, so she hasn't been in even a full year yet, and still, she's still got some time for the year, and has been really doing amazing by surprising herself, which is, I think, the best thing that happens is when we like go, oh my gosh, I just did that, and I didn't think that was possible. And she's going to be telling you about those little aha moments she's had throughout her journey. And the most exciting thing is what I wanted her to talk about for all of you, is how she's been getting these parties booked and selling over $2,000. But it's because of the things that happened before and in between that got her to that place that she's going to tell you, which is so, so important. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to our amazing friend, Nadia. And I'm going to mute myself. And Nadia, if you can just unmute yourself. You can also just tell them a little bit about yourself as well.
Yep.
That would be awesome.
Absolutely. So of course, like everyone, I think most of the people who come to speak kind of feel a little pressure. I got a little bit of the butterflies, but my name is Nadia Herrera, and as Jess said, I started this year in February, and initially, she said that I would be talking about the goal of 2000, but I did really want to tell the story about the shift in my mindset, because I think that that's really the most important part, because when I improved my mindset, my business improved. And it was almost, I wouldn't say miraculous, but there was something completely unexpected. So, because really my only goal is to just keep improving. Each day I just kind of want to get a little bit better, learn a little bit more, maybe do a few different things. So the 2000 number was a goal I set for myself, and I did get it, but I don't think that that's as important as kind of me talking about the change in my mindset that I've achieved since I started. And when I started in February, Scentsy was not something that I was looking for. I was not looking for a side hustle. I was not trying to supplement income or find something to do. I thought I was kind of, I had it pretty dialed in, and boy, am I so grateful that I was offered the opportunity to come and be part of this team. Because now I know some other people say this, but Scentsy is my happy place. I grew up in direct sales. My mom has sold Princess House since I was 1 year old because she wanted to stay home with me. I know the lifestyle, and I think I had a good understanding when I came in because of that, because that was how food got into my mouth, was because my mom did parties and she hustled. And so, my husband's also in sales. So there's a lot of sales in my family. And, he's always kind of said to me that I should be a salesperson because I can get along with anybody. But sales were always very scary to me because I didn't like the selling aspect of it. And I was really scared that I would fail. So, I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little bit tired of being afraid to fail, because I've realized in hindsight how that's held me back from different things that I'd wanted to do. So the great thing about Scentsy is that there is no failure. I cannot fail, because the only way I can fail is if I quit. I set my goals. I set my, everything's on me. I'm my own boss. So things might not happen exactly when I want them to, but that's just a delay. That's not me failing. So far, the greatest tool that Jess has kind of really instilled in me and all the people in Scentsy is the mindset. Okay. Any improvement I've made in my business is not business knowledge. It's not, because I make something prettier than somebody else. It's really just being excited and being willing to kind of do just certain things grow. So, since I started in February, that was right before the pandemic got bad, and the world has gotten nothing but like crazier since then. And so the only thing, but my mindset improved. So did my business. So that just proved that it was like not the circumstances, it was the mindset, because nothing's gotten better in this time, and my business has gotten better. So the first thing that I really learned in my shift was to have no limitations. I came in and my initial mindset was of limitation. It wasn't only limiting my business, but kind of my life. I was kind of struggling when the pandemic hit, and I completely stalled out because I thought, who's going to have money? Who wants to buy this stuff right now? Like anything, nothing. Like nobody's going to want to do any of this. The world is falling apart, but that was just me limiting myself. The world was different, but I just needed to improvise, overcome, and adapt. That's what my husband says, like ad nauseum: improvise, overcome, and adapt. I don't like that because that's change and that, but that's what I had to shift. So I was limiting myself based on that perception that no one would want anything. And then all around me, like Scentsy's blowing up, right? So that was how I was proved wrong, that COVID was just like my personal perception holding me back, because in the meantime, everybody we grew 90%. So, so now in hindsight, I kind of had to have another shift in mindset, because as I look back, I could look back and think, man, I missed that opportunity because I didn't think anyone would want to join my team, buy Scentsy, listen to what I had to say. And so I had to learn to not compare. That's like the second thing, no comparisons. So during that time in quarantine, my focus was really on my mental health and just kind of making it through each day with some kind of sanity, because I felt like every issue I had was under the microscope. And I knew that like anything that I felt might be more stress or more work on my plate, like it wouldn't have brought me joy. And for me, that's an absolute must. Money is not my biggest motivator. I know my husband wishes money was like the big motivator, but it is not. It's quality of life. Absolutely. And I know that the speaker on Saturday said the same thing. She kind of sang a lot of my song about things like that. And so if I was going to end up like killing myself doing things for money that didn't make me happy, then I was going to quit. So that was just kind of where I was at the moment. And, a lot of people who joined when I did, man, they are superstar consultants. They've achieved director status. They're going to Disney World. And, I'm not close to any of those things at the moment. But I don't focus on what other people are doing, in that way, because when someone else is having a success, I want to look at their success, at their achievement, and let it be their success, not my failure. When they're succeeding, that's not something that I did wrong or that I'm not living up to. I want to celebrate other people when they're succeeding, and then just get back to doing what I'm doing, because I can't feel self-esteem if I'm worrying about what you're doing. I have to pay attention to what I'm doing, because that's the only thing that's going to make a difference in my business anyway. If you're doing great or you're doing bad, that doesn't put a dime in my pocket. So, so really it's really just about what I can control. So, even my husband kind of compares a little bit. We had a friend who sold Scentsy, and he said, well, why did she quit? I'm like, I don't know. He said, well, how much does your sponsor make? What's like the potential here? And I'm like, honestly, I have no answers to these questions, and I don't care. Because again, like what somebody else is doing, if they're succeeding or failing, it's not part of my journey. And I'm not going to let somebody else write my story with someone else's pen. This is for me to write. And the one way that I think I kind of protect myself from, certain pitfalls kind of emotionally through this business, because, you are kind of doing everything and it can feel a little bit personal, is that I've taken on an attitude of no expectations. So when I realized that I needed to focus on just my own actions and what I can control, if I put the expectations on anything but myself, I'm going to be disappointed, because I can do the actions that are suggested to me by all the successful consultants in this business, but I have to leave the outcome for how it's going to be. I might not get the same result. I probably won't get the same result, at least not 100%. So I have zero expectation. I can't make people host a party. I can't make my hostess be more, can't make her friends show up to my Facebook lives, which would be nice because sometimes that's awkward, or I can't make anybody buy anything. But, I can't make anyone do anything that I feel should be the result of my actions. I'm not in control over those outcomes. So since I can't ensure that what I do is going to bring anything positive to me, all I can do is keep trying. So I look at the work that I put in like I'm a scientist. And one second. I was so sorry. I thought I could handle being next in line on chat to fix a problem, and I couldn't. That was just an hour gone. Okay, cool. So anyway, so I basically, I look at kind of like I'm a scientist, and I have like a hypothesis of how something's going to go. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go that way. So I just keep trying new things, and I see what gets me the best results. But again, when I do it again, I still don't know if I'm going to get a repeat result from it. So I don't take it personally. When I have no expectations for my actions, I don't get disappointed. It also helps me to share Scentsy instead of sell it, because the sharing is the action and the selling is the result. So if I'm focusing on getting that result, then I'm going to come across as icky because I'm trying to sell you something. But if I just focus on the action of sharing and I don't care about the result, like if I'm excited and I want to talk to you about it, that's great. I just want to express that enthusiasm that I have for it, currently. And that way I'm not kind of pushy. And you all know, you've been with an icky salesperson who just wants the sale. Like, I want to meet people. I want to party with them. I want to talk with them. And so far it's been working out for me. So now I have had this shift in mindset, but it has come at like a cost, because I have experienced like every negative emotion as well up until this point, which I think was the growing pains to get here. So it's not that I've never stepped on these mental minefields to compare and to do these things, because I think that's how I've learned to not do them. But I just don't allow myself to live there. I let myself feel it for a little bit, and then I go right back into action and I try something else, or I try the same thing if that's working. So I found that that's why these trainings are really important. They take me out of whatever else is going on in my life, and they immerse me in something positive, and they keep me connected to my business, so that I can keep growing, because every day life tries to get in between me and what I want, and so if I'm not trying to dial in and stay connected, then I just end up kind of, everything just kind of goes to the wayside. We all have very busy lives and things pop up. So I do try to make these trainings and different things a commitment. So now that I had kind of the mindset shift, then it was like time to get to work, now that I knew I wanted to do something with it. So I've realized in order to be successful, I have to be willing. When I first came in, I was not on social media. Jess has a questionnaire that says like, are you coachable? And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, maybe I don't really want to listen to someone else, but because I like to do my own thing. But I've realized that I have to have that willingness to step outside of my comfort zone, because my comfort zone didn't have anything to do with what I'm doing now. And if I stayed there, then I wouldn't be successful in what I'm trying to do. So I have to be willing to work and learn and listen and be uncomfortable. And I have to be willing to change. And I do most of those things totally begrudgingly. I wish I was just like skipping along, like all happy to like change everything that I do. But I'm not. I don't like change. I don't like that uncomfortable feeling. And it doesn't feel good. And here I am again saying that's like, things have to bring me joy. But, I've realized that if I want to achieve the results that other people have, I have to at least loosely do what they've done. I don't have to do exactly what everybody's done. But there's a path. I have to kind of stay on the path. I don't have to put my feet right where somebody else's were, but I have to stay along that path. So, I'm going to make mistakes along the way. I have made mistakes along the way. I'm going to make a whole bunch more, I'm sure. But, if I learn from those moments, then I'm going to fail up, and that's going to be okay. Then I don't have to make those mistakes anymore. So, so talking about the increase in PRV and reaching that 2,000 goal that I've set for myself each month, Jess had me watch The Secret. Well, she suggested it. So I don't like to be told what to do. I think she knows something. She suggested it. And if you haven't seen it or read it, there's, the book. It's basically about how you manifest in your life what you focus on. And it's a little over the top because people are like, oh my gosh, I got all this amazing stuff and all I did was think about it. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. So I'll try it. But again, I'll be willing to try. I'll drink the Kool-Aid on this one and I will try the manifestation. So I decided I wanted to set the goal for $2,000 a month. Again, no expectation I'm going to hit this goal. I just knew I was going to do all of the actions that are suggested. So I would randomly visualize that little dashboard we have with the little circle, and it was going around and it was hitting $2,000 and I would see it at the top. And that was my visualization. I would sit there and I would smile. There was something about smiling in there that you should like really enjoy whatever you're visualizing. And I would be smiling as that little thing went around. And then I just would put that aside and focus on the action again. So at that point, when I had set this goal, I didn't have any parties on the books. Like everything had kind of dried up. And to me, parties are the easiest way to grow my sales and my network. So I'm not the person to talk to about recruiting. I haven't quite figured that part out yet. I don't do subscription boxes or craft shows or anything like that. But I'm a party girl. I grew up with it. I still remember carrying my mom's heavy suitcases into her hostesses' houses and watching all these older ladies. They were probably younger than me now, but back then I was little. All these older ladies drinking margaritas and falling all over all the princess house dishware and whatever, and just having a great time together. So I grew up with parties and I love to party. So this is a business about relationships. So to me, there's like no better way to meet people than through a party. You have an in, like you have a mutual friend, or you already met this person through a party and made them your friend. And when I'm talking parties, yeah, for me, it's been all 100% virtual. And if there's anyone who's not doing virtual, oh my goodness, if I can do it, you can do it, because I wasn't even on Facebook. Like I was like 80 years old. I literally had my 80-some-year-old aunt go, "Are you on the Facebook?" And I said, "No." And she said, "You should. It's really nice." And I felt like 100 at that point. I thought, wow, I should probably get with the rest of the world. But I did it just because Jess said I should come on so that I can talk with you ladies and learn some things. Again, I had to change something, but it paid off. So, because I've actually learned it. So, back to that, I had no hostess to throw a party for me when I threw this, or when I set this goal. So I had also learned from these trainings to party with yourself. So I threw my own party to drum up some business. And I had seen Heather Gorsuch's virtual training party with the Family Feud. So I thought, okay, if she's having a good old time with this and it's working so well, like I can do something with this. So I was willing to try something new, and I formatted a party almost identical to what she did, and I posted an invite on Facebook. And over the years, I've learned, because most people are actually like me. I feel that we don't like to be pressured to do things. We don't like to be told to do things. We don't like that. But people love to help. So I put out a post on Facebook asking my friends, can you please help me? Can you please participate in a practice party so that I can test out this new idea, so that I can kind of like dial it in before I really do it out in, you know, like the real world with people that aren't all my friends. And I got a really good response. A lot of people asked if they could help and be in the party. So that really showed me the power when you're not doing the click inviting. You know, when you put it out there and you get people coming back to you, those people want to be there. We had a lot of great interactions. So I tried Alyssa's party identically to see if I could achieve the same results. And I did the party pack for the first time. I did Facebook Lives for the first time. I scheduled all the group posts for the first time, all sorts of other stuff. And not surprisingly, I had a ton of issues. Like it was ugly at some parts, but like my party packs were all melted. I didn't know to put a little felt square in the thing. So like they just melted all over into the candy and stuff. Yeah. So that, and then I sent a little pixie stick and it exploded for some people. So it was like, everything was just like, people were getting like this nasty, oily, powdery, like the postman was probably like, what the heck is going on with this mail? But anyway, so there were a lot of issues with that. And then with the Facebook Live, I was watching, you know, the training with Alyssa, and here's hundreds of us like all on this training, and she's talking to everybody, and I'm like, oh, there'll be people and I'll be able to talk to them. And no, I didn't know Facebook Live was so delayed. And then I didn't know that it's potentially possible that no comments will come through. So I'm trying to like wait for people to talk to. It was so awkward. I literally cried afterwards. I just felt really icky. And, you know, it was just something so different and I didn't enjoy it. But I said, okay, that wasn't good. What can I do better next time? Oh, don't try to wait for comments. Took that information and the next one went great. I just talked to my screen like a crazy person and it was wonderful. I still think it's weird, but it works out really well. So, yeah. So, but those problems were exactly why I did it with friends first, to get all those kinks worked out. And I must have done something okay because I got 4 bookings off of my party, which was pretty amazing considering like even one of those, I had asked her before, like, do you want to have a party? She's like, no, I'm good. No party. And then when she actually participated in mine, she was like, oh, well, that doesn't seem so bad. So she wanted to give it a shot because it looked pretty easy. Easy for them, not for me. Cause you know, again, like I cried so many times. Now I'm getting good at it, but boy, like that first one, that's kind of the point, is just, man, when you first are trying something new, yeah, it can be painful. That one was painful. And now that I look back, I'm kind of laughing because I'm like, oh, it's so easy now. Now I really enjoy it. I have a good time. But I got to discover a lot of new tools through that party that made everything better. So it was a leap of faith that paid off. I also ask my hostesses for input on like everything, because I want to know, like at the end, like what they thought of everything. Was it an easy experience for you? Like, did you enjoy it? Because I want them to enjoy it. I don't want them to feel like they had a whole lot of stuff to do and they wouldn't want to do it again. And so, or if they did get feedback from their friends that maybe they were a little too shy to tell me, like, oh yeah, maybe they didn't like, you know, maybe whatever you put in the party pack, if you could do it differently or whatever. So, so to me, I'm not afraid to change that up. Like I am completely not, I'm not married to anything. Not one idea am I married to, so much to where if somebody tells me if it's not working, like it's gone. So, but an example of expectation, like I would think that the party that I had 2 parties booked. One wanted the party pack. One, when she got hers, it was so gross. She was like, no, thank you. Please don't send that to my friends. She didn't want it. So I would have expected that the one with the party pack that I sent, which was a success the next time, that it would have been maybe I would have had more sales, or I would have had, you know, a better party. That was just kind of my thought, because I put more effort into that party than the one that I didn't have the party packs with. But the one I didn't have the party packs with actually sold over $200 more than on the other one. So it's like, you don't know. Sometimes your effort isn't the gauge of what's going to happen. I thought maybe it was the hostess engagement, but I coached them the same way because they were the same week. Like these 2 parties, everything was identical. All things were the same except for the party pack. So, so again, you know, it's just, these are things that are out of my control. So if a party succeeds or if it doesn't, I don't necessarily feel it's all on me. So, the one thing I really learned, and I think the Saturday caller talked about it too, and I was like, oh, that's what I was going to say. This is my big point, was the questionnaire. So whatever I do with my parties, if I'm not going to do a party pack, I'm going to have at least a way to let everyone know, like, hey, we're going to have games, but you can't get any prizes, all in compliance, by the way. So let's just already take that off the table. So, but you know, you're going to get your stuff, but you can't receive it if I don't have your address. I can't mail it to you. So I need you to fill out this questionnaire. That questionnaire has been priceless. It was priceless in my party because that's how I knew who I was going to, you know, really follow up with for parties. And my next party, I booked 2 off of hers, and we're working on a 3rd, and I have 1 coming off of the next, because I've only held 2 of the 4 that I booked. So anyway, when people have any kind of a number that's like not 0, I know they're open to the idea. 3 and up, I consider like 100% yes. I'm like, oh, we're going to do that then. I don't even like give it an option. I'm like, well, you 3, that's pretty high. Like if I was really not interested, I would put it lower. So, but once I see that number, like then I can communicate with someone and say, you know, like, hey, on your questionnaire, you said you were interested in hosting a party. I'm booking for next month. You know, if you book now for an early booking, you know, I'll give you an early booking gift. You know, this is private message that I can, you know, talk to them through. And people have been receptive to it. They're coming right off the party. They had a good time and they're having their own. So also, if I see that there was somebody who really engaged, but maybe they didn't fill out the questionnaire or they didn't have a very high number, like I still kind of look at that as a really good sign, because either they like to have fun or they like Scentsy or something. And one of those 2 things like will make them a good candidate for a party or to hopefully join. That's where I'm setting my sights next. So I'm talking about parties, but really like my side eye is over here. I'm like, I got to get on recruiting. So, but the biggest thing of that is that I have to ask. So I get that information, but then I have to follow through with it. You know, having those parties made such a huge difference between August and September. August, I had set the goal and I threw my own party, but I had to grind it out, like being up on the phone. We had that launch the next day. I was already exhausted because I was like all day like looking at stuff, like following up with people, looking to see when they'd order, what did they order, what can we, you know, I was exhausted by midnight already. And like, yeah, we hadn't even gotten to the launch. So when I had all these parties booked for this month, that made it so much easier. And I thought, well, not that it's a given that I can just book parties whenever I so choose, but it let me know that that's the way that I want to really set my focus. You know, everyone's different. Like I said, some people really like subscriptions or craft fairs or different things like that. But this is what I like to do. You know, okay. So I did have kind of some notes here because talk about squirrels, I would have been all over the place. You know, the itty bitty icky committee does keep telling me that next month I'm not going to hit it though, because, you know, I didn't have the Nightmare Before Christmas and you've already talked to everybody. And, but I totally put that aside. You know, I would have hit it this month regardless of Nightmare Before Christmas. And I find new people all the time because I am carrying books, I'm carrying samples. If I do business with you, guess what you get from me? You get a book and you get some wax or you get whatever. Like if we're doing business now, it's like a 2-way street. So, so I'm going to always have new people if I'm putting myself out there. So it's kind of just something I'm not going to stress on right now. Again, not worry about the outcome. And yeah, really focuses on parties, need to work on recruiting. And honestly, if I find that something else is going to work for me better in the future, I'm going to shift to that. And once I kind of get all those pieces together, just watch out, y'all, because it's going to be, I'm going to be on fire. That's just one thing I've got. But that was all that I had.
I love you so much. You're so awesome. I have pages of notes, just, that I just want to like point out some things that you said that I hope that everybody else, and then there's some questions that I want to make sure that you are able to answer. But really fast, I love how you said that when something doesn't go the way you had anticipated, it's just a delay, not a failure. And that is such a very specific mindset, which you were focusing on, how like your mindset shifted. And that really makes the difference between somebody that continues to grow a business, is because instead of the way you look at it, because anybody that has done anything with their business can tell you that they've had a lot of delays in their business and detours, and and I loved when you said, I just don't live there. Because we all I had a moment today that out of nowhere, I was putting my party packs together and I was having fun, putting my little stars in and all happy. And all of a sudden I got all overwhelmed and I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't done any follow-up. I'm doing, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, what can I do to like change this mindset right now? And I was just lucky that I have a little jar on my desk that my awesome daughter, who's been watching me for 9 years, teach other people to be positive. And she says, take one when having a rough day. And I pulled out a positive little note, and it says, I hope you know how brave, important, sparkling, and wonderful you are, even though you don't feel like it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's all I needed to hear. Like somebody understands me right now. And then I moved on. Just like, I didn't live there. And it's about like, it's not that we don't have, all of us don't have moments or even days of like, it's just not a good day. Like today I'm done. Like, but you don't live there. You don't stay there, and you move on. And I just love that. So let's see. Someone else's success is not your failure. Oh my gosh. I mean, these are like, you guys should be writing these down and putting Post-it notes and putting them in your face, wherever you do your job, sit on your desk, on your refrigerator, whatever. Becca Levi, she told me when she started her business, and if you come to my house, it still looks like that. I have sticky notes all over the house. People are like, what is this? But it's like, we need to be reminded that these little things of, that it's just because somebody else is finding success in a place that you may not be right now, it doesn't mean you're failing at all, ever, or at all, or even you're going to fail. It's just, like you said, it's their journey. It's your journey. I mean, you literally said such, priceless golden nuggets that if you write these things down and remind yourself these things throughout your journey, it's going to keep you pushing through. I love I've never even looked at it this way. And I love that you look at yourself as like a scientist and you use everything as like a hypothesis. I was like, oh, that's brilliant, because it's so true. Like everything is trial and error in this business. Like there's best practices that a good percentage of consultants done, like you said, laid the road for us. And that if you said like, I'm willing to try, I wrote it down. Where did I write it down? Something like, I'll loosely do what others have done. And then you fail up. And so like, that's pretty much what this is all about. All these trainings we all share about, this is what's worked for me. And it's kind of like it's laying a brick to kind of take that first step. And it may not be as difficult as it was for the first person that tried it the very first time, because they kind of like worked out a little bit of the kinks, but it doesn't mean all the kinks are going to be gone. It just means that they're laying a little bit of foundation for you. Oh my gosh. And I love how you said, sharing is an action and selling is a result. I never looked at it that way either. I'm like, well, wow, that is so true. because when we're focusing on the results, we're more likely to have expectation and then feel like we're failing. But if you're literally just focusing on sharing, they always say your business starts when you open your mouth. If you're just sharing your happiness, then you're doing your part, right? And that is an action, and you could check that off in your box if you're that kind of person. You need to check. Oh yeah. I love how you said don't allow yourself to I already said that, to live in a negative place, and then staying connected. I mean, I hope you guys notice that all these people that tend to be doing amazing things and learning a lot, that have a lot to share with all of us, is they're all staying connected. And Nadia is one of those people. She's on every call. If she's not on live, she's listening to every recording, but she tries to do every live call that she can. And you just notice how she referred back to the Saturday call. So she's training herself and picking things up, and she's able to say, oh, okay, I have something that's a similar experience to this person. But she's also listening for new things. Does that make sense? Like, there's always something to learn. There's always a nugget that you can take, even if it's one thing. You could be listening like, oh, I've heard this before. Oh, this person said, I've heard this. Blah, blah, blah. I know this. But if you think that way, you're going to miss that one little tiny nugget that could be the total shift of your business that makes things go in a different direction. And then and I'm going to shut up. I'm going to let everybody else answer your questions. But one thing that I think is so key that you talked about is how you started with a practice party with your friends and your close people. That's your warm market. That's what we ask all of our new consultants to do when you first join, because that's where we're comfortable. Like you said, you were okay with sending melted wax, not like you thought that you were going to be sending it, but when it happened and it melted, you weren't like mortified. I mean, you were probably a little like, oh man, that's not what I wanted to happen. But it didn't make you stop and say, oh, this isn't for me. That was a disaster. I'm never going to do it again. You laughed through it. You said, okay, lesson learned, check, not do that. And then you shifted and you said, and you kept researching, and you found the little trick that Heather Gorsuch does, puts the little felt in there. But a lot of consultants would have said, horrible experience, never doing it again. I'm not cut out for this, and I'm done. But look what you did. You pushed through, and now you're finding all this success. I'm just so excited. This is such a great call. I hope everybody shares this with their teams and listens to it again. Okay, so you have questions. Do you want to read them, or do you want me to read them to you?
Yes. I can read them. Oh, how do I coach my hostesses? So I'm still trying to figure that out. I have definitely paid attention. I watched Heather Gorsuch's one of the trainings, and they did like a mock back and forth there, and I would have loved to have her fake hostess. That lady was pretty amazing. She asked all the right questions. But the main thing that I tell my hostesses is to do personal invites, to really think of the people they think are really going to be the most interested, and do the personal invites. And then I have them do the general, like, hey, do you want to come to the party on Facebook? Because I want it to be more personal. I want people either seeking it out or her like really keeping connection with them. And then I let them know that nobody wants to talk to me. They don't know me. Like, they get to know me. I don't care if they want to or not. Like, they end up getting to know me, but but they don't know me. So they're not like, if they're not participating in their party, they can't expect other people to really be all up in it, because, then I'm just coming off a little creepy, which I will. I don't care. Because I'm gonna be all up in your business. But it would be nice if I had that in. And I have found a nice icebreaker, by the way, is instead of just tell us how you know the host, I do tell us how you know the host, but it has to be a lie. And then I tell this really great story about how I know the host, like, which makes them look like a great, a great person. Like, oh, changed my tire on the side of the road, and I was so grateful that I gave them a fragrance flower and they loved it so much they booked a party, like whatever, but funnier than that. And so then everybody, it's kind of a nice icebreaker, because then you know, people kind of get a little creative and funny, and so it kind of starts everything off good. But so that's the main thing that I tell them. And okay, who do you decide to send the party packs to? Okay, so I do a cheap party pack. I do the 55-cent stamp one, because again, there are things that I'm willing to do that bring me joy, and those huge party packs that are like really expensive, that overwhelmed me the moment I saw it, and I was like, not for me. And so when I saw Alyssa do the 55 cents, I like was dancing in my office. I was like, yay, there's an option for people like me who don't want to do all of that and spend all that. And so yeah, so I would send it to anybody who filled it out, because mine honestly cost, even with the shipping, probably under $1. So I'm totally cool. I haven't had more than 13. So it hasn't been anything where I've kind of been like 50. No, if 50 people filled out that form, I would send it anyway and be overjoyed, because I'm gonna guarantee I'm gonna get some threes, right? Like there's gonna be, and to me that's booked. Yay. So yeah, and then sometimes you hear the same thing, and yeah, Melissa, that is so true. And repetition, I know sometimes we think it gets boring, but you know, sometimes you do need to hear things like, what do we say to people about buying and getting them to host? Like sometimes it takes how many contacts to get them to do that. So sometimes maybe we do need to hear it that 10th time, and then it's like, okay. And the felt. Oh, the felt. If I would have had the felt, that would have saved me some oily, weird mail. That was a little embarrassing, but that was okay.
What a cool story. You get to share like how your business started. I think it's an awesome story.
People were sending me the funniest email, like text. They're like, ugh, what? My mailman must have been so confused by like this big grease. It was funny.
Their hands must have smelled great delivering your mail.
In the chat with everybody, that was the big laugh, was how great everybody's mailboxes smelled. And I guess they would smell that way anyway, because it's not like totally airtight or whatever. But yeah, everyone was just attributing that to the fact that there was Scentsy wax all on all their mail. So
I love it. So Melissa wants to know what you put in your party packs.
Okay. So again, following this, because I thought, man, this chick came in on fire. Like she wasn't in, and then she comes back in after all this time and is kind of like, and then is a director in 4 months. And she's doing online parties. During the pandemic, she became a director. So Jess became a director in 4 months in a world where she was knocking on doors and going to do certain things that I wouldn't feel comfortable doing right now. So if this chick is doing it completely, like, you know, this in the virtual world, I wanted to listen to that. So I put a product sheet, and I will cut some smelly stickers and put them in some little places next to the products. There are a few open spots where it's like really better to do that. And so I fill that up, and then I do a business card with a scented sticker. I did do 2 slivers of wax with the felt. I might do 1. And then I do a little thing that's kind of explains a little bit about the party, like come party with me, here's some fun stuff to sniff, but just eat the pixie stick. And then I put the pixie stick in, a little bit of confetti, and I can't remember if I did a scent to the, I don't think I did scent to the month, or maybe it was just a host join brochure. That might have been it.
Did you use those little, you showed me once you had these really cute like scratch and sniffs that you were, I don't know if you did send them or you were thinking about them, but whatever they were.
I'm not looking at my actual little thing of all the stuff that I put in there. So yeah, so it's the product list. No, those I'm doing with my thank yous that I'm sending out, because I'm like, because to me, I have a little scratcher card. I could send that with it. But not everybody who fills out the form participates or buys. So maybe it would incent them to, but I feel right now the way I'm doing it is with my thank you. I send my scratcher, which is, like for a discount or a scent circle with their next order, whatever it is. I'm like, I have somebody I know is going to order, so I'm going to send them something. Hopefully they will continue to order. Oh, and a body sample. That's the other thing I send. So that's what it is. I was like, I know there's something cooler in here.
That's a lot for 55 cents. That all goes in the regular. That's awesome.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I wouldn't say I'm cheap per se, but to me it's a gamble, and maybe it pays off and maybe it doesn't. But like I said, especially when I saw that the party without the party pack did better, I was like, for sure, I can get by with, and they still get something. They still get the body sample and some fun little things to sniff and the product sheet. And so, yeah.
That's funny you said that, because I got the same experience. I did one with no party packs at all, and it was like almost $1,000, and one with, and one with, and it was almost $1,000. One without, it was almost $1,000, and then the other one, the other two that I did with party packs, they did like barely qualified parties. So you really just don't, I think it's really kind of like you have to decide what you're willing to do and how you want to present your business, like what you want to send and all that stuff. So I don't think there's like really like a stamp on what really works. It's you decide what you want to spend on each party and send out, and like what information you want in their hands. So I just want to tell you, this is streaming to our group page, and it says, we have a lot of people saying, thank you, this is amazing, I really needed this. This is such great information. I love this. What packages do you use? So are you using just regular like legal envelopes?
Just invitation envelopes. I just got some purple ones from Amazon.
Okay.
Everything fits pretty nicely in there. I'm trying to think if I have anything that because I fold the product sheet kind of into 4s, and so.
Awesome.
I'm glad to hear that, because when you asked if I would speak, I was like,
you were a little
somebody behind me that you were talking to over there is like my husband who's in sales, like, does he have something to share? No.
I think it's so important for us to hear from people that are like doing what we're doing, especially, I mean, it's one thing to hear from a bunch of people that have been doing it for 10 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, as much as there's a lot of information that you can get from people that have been doing it a lot, it's actually even more, to me at least, this is my perspective, inspiring to hear from somebody that's brand new, that is doing this for the first time, seeing things for the first time. And like you said, you started during like the pandemic, which there's just so much that's not normal. Like I can train all about doing a home party in somebody's house, but because I've done it so many times, but this is all new stuff. So we need to hear from people that are actually doing it and finding success, and having a little bit of, delays in success to learn from it. Like, and the fact that you've pushed through and, literally powered through, I'd like to say, all the ups and downs, and learned from it. We all need to hear that. And that's the best way. And it's very inspiring on this end. I'm going to mute myself really fast because I need to pull the comments up. And whenever I pull them up, it starts the sound and it like echoes. So, and then I'm going to get back on to see to let you know if there's any more questions on this one. I'm sorry, it's taking forever to like come up. Hold on one second. If anybody else, Melissa, do you have any questions or comments?
I want to know what Melissa was cooking.
Just dinner.
I was like, oh, that looks good. What's she making?
It's called spaghetti bread. All it is like dough bread, like bread dough, rolled out, and then I make spaghetti and put it in the middle and then braid it close and then put garlic butter on it and bake it. That's it.
Oh, is that all? That sounds amazing.
Okay, that sounds like all fancy.
That's like my fanciest dinner. So, but my youngest doesn't eat anything. Like, he is the pickiest eater ever. And today, and normally, like when I say, what do you want for dinner? Everybody says, I don't know. And that like drives me crazy. He said he wanted spaghetti bread. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm making spaghetti bread.
Well, you're also posting the recipe for spaghetti bread, because I have a cookie eater too, but she likes spaghetti and she likes bread. So
Rhodes, you know, the Rhodes bread, like the frozen Rhodes rolls.
oh,
It's called Rhodes. It's a brand that it comes with like 3 rolls of like frozen bread dough. I just thaw one out and then I roll it out, and then I literally just make my spaghetti and plop it in the middle and then just like braid it closed. That's it.
done and done. We're making spaghetti bread.
I mean, it's simple in that it's not easy because like I have to have my husband help me pick it up. But I mean, it's simple enough. Like, you could do it.
Yeah.
But back to this, like I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much. Like for me, I have my itty bitty icky committee. I don't know if it's really that, or it's just like coming into Scentsy, I had to change my mindset a lot because I'm a introvert. I'm much happier being by myself. I don't have to, like, I was talking to my my friend Michelle. She's also my sponsor and director. I was telling her the other day how like I love closed end questions. Like, that is my jam. And Michelle was like, knock it off. And so I find myself doing it all the time with like all my party hostesses and all of the party guests. And then I'm like, why didn't that work? It's because I'm like, if you have any questions, I'm here. Let me know. I'm here for you.
Close
Like,
end
instead of
question.
asking-
That's a good one.
Yeah. Like, it's close end. Like I will never get it. I won't ever get a response. They'll say, okay. And then that's it. So it's a close end. Bad. Don't do it. My question is, because I think this week I did my first like traditional online party. I do a lot of bingo, but like a lot of out of compliance bingo, so I don't do it anymore. And like I really squirrel question, Jess. Michelle and I think we found a loophole with this whole like compliance thing with the things. What if we were to reward people? So if let's say I'm having a bingo party and somebody says, I say for everybody that places an order, or if somebody places an order, everybody gets an extra number. If somebody hosts, everybody gets an extra number. That way there's like no like uneven.
I mean, you're right. I think that you found a way that as long as everybody's getting rewarded for an action.
So you think that would be okay?
I would, the way I'm gonna always respond is I would send it into compliance and get that written.
Do you think that might be a loophole?
Huh?
I said, but do you think that might be a loophole?
I really think so, because they're saying
bingo parties.
I know they really do. People like the bingo. I mean, if that's really which is what I got out of it, is that everybody has to get a reward. That's rewarding them. And then saying, obviously at the end, whoever has the most points is going to get the actual prize, which is telling them that, the most points, right? As we discussed last week or a week before or something like that. I definitely would run it by compliance, because if it's a loophole that you found, then you can use it like no tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? And that really make a big difference.
Okay, so back to this out by squirrel. So Nadia, one of my issues with this party that I had was I didn't really know how to interact with the guests. Like, I played games, but like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like
well, that's like the first step.
I mean, I reached out to the obvious guests that were like participating, but like, Did you reach out to like everybody that came? Did you reach out only to the people that were like participating? Like, I had people that filled, like I had one lady that gave me 10s. I got 2 10s, one for joining and one for hosting. And how did I drop that ball? I have no idea, but she hasn't joined and she hasn't hosted. So I don't, and when I asked her, I'm like, so what made, like, because I thought my hostess at one point was filling out the forms for them. And so then I was like, oh, did she give everybody 10s? Because I got quite a few. And I was like, what on earth? This is not normal. Like, and when I asked them about it, like, they just didn't understand. Like, one lady was like, well, I'd never done a Scentsy party before. And so I think she meant like that current, the current party. And so I didn't know how to respond to these things. Like, how like, I think it's a me issue and I just don't know how to talk to people. Like, I hear you talking about your guests and like, I don't know how to communicate with people.
Well, that's the one, my husband always, he was like, man, you can get along with anybody. Like
with people too, but like when enough is enough for me, which is usually about 5-10 minutes in, like, you know, I start to get uncomfortable and then it's like, oh, well, it's nice to meet you. Bye. I'm like Chandler being, you know, like, oh, it's been great. Let's do this again. You know, like that's me.
I try to interact with everybody who's interacting, obviously. And if people aren't, like, I'm not really reaching out necessarily just to reach out and see like how they're enjoying everything. If they don't want to be a part of it, like, I'm cool. But if they do fill out the questionnaire, I'm trying to see what people's numbers were under where I wrote booked. Yeah, I had a 5 and I think like a 7 or something. Anyway, and when I'm reaching out for the follow-up after, I really do just tell them this is what I'm doing. I'm booking out into, you know, October, or if it was the beginning of September, I would say for the rest of the month or whatever. The hostess gets another half off. You'll get a little sweetened deal if you book. And that's, you know, been enticing. It's not a huge conversation.
You do that.
I just go for it.
Party, or do you do like so you do that after the party then?
Yes, this is direct conversation, because I put all sorts of stuff in the party, like about hosting and joining and la 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 la. But that I find so many of these things are just, they get lost. And I don't really know the algorithm for like which posts necessarily are up top, because sometimes I think it's if they have more comments, and then other times I just have no clue why that one's up on top. And so people don't necessarily see everything. But if I see something and somebody, I messenger them. I don't need their information. Like, Messenger goes to everybody. And now I have your name. So you can expect to hear from me. You know, it's just a quick message. And if I don't hear anything back, then cool. But, you know, there are a few, you know, most of the people are like, oh, thanks, I'll think about it. Okay, cool. I have it all on here. And guess what I'm going to be doing next month? About, you know, a month from now, I'm going to be going back down this list of people who don't have booked written over their number. And then I'll just shoot it out there again. Hey, it's not too late. I don't know, you know, just.
What was that you held up? Like, what's the highlighting and the circling, and what does that mean?
Oh, that's me writing everyone's name. I write their numbers. I write host and then the number that they gave me, and then consult the number that they gave me. I highlight ones I really want to focus on. Oh. And then there are some people that I know it's not their time right now. So, you know, like, some people put in the comments, like, for sure that they're not interested. So I'm not going to like push it. I'm not pushy, but you know, if there's, like I said, anything over 3, you're
I've only done the form once. So I was like, I didn't really know what to do. I know that data is like gold, but it's like,
yes,
I've never, like, what do I do with it? So that's helpful. Thank you.
This is what I had the forms in other parties, and I didn't kind of make it a requirement. It was like, oh, there's this form, and if you want to order, you can like use it. And when I actually had it to where people had to, to fill it out to get the party pack, and I got to see, before I even started really that much into the party, I got to see who I knew I could be following up with and kind of planting seeds with through the whole thing. It was, yeah, I was like, I told Jess, I was like, oh, I don't like this party pack thing. This is like, it's a lot of time, and what, you know, I'm lazy. I didn't realize, now that I'm telling you all how much I really hate doing all this. But like with the party pack, I was averse to it at first. I'm getting there. But yeah, and just to see this, it was worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Like, I know who I'm really going to talk to. I'm not gonna waste my time. And I do respect the information on there. If they're giving me a 0, like, I'm cool. Like, I really don't want to waste my time. And I don't want to feel icky. Like, you told me 0 and I'm going to try to go, and you have 0 interest. And I'm like, hey, but are you sure? Like, so yeah, to me, the form is everything, because they get to fill it out and, you know, and be honest, hopefully, and I get to reap the rewards of it. So yeah, love the form.
Well, thank you.
This was full of awesome information. Thank you so much, Nadia, for taking the time and accepting my invitation. I know that you were a little hesitant in the beginning. She actually asked me if she could push it off a couple weeks. And then she called me back and goes, actually, I think I want to just get it over with. And I love that you challenged yourself, because, I mean, you really got some great content, and I hope it makes you realize that you do have a lot to offer, because like I said, there's a lot of comments. When you go on our Angels of Light group page, because I send it over to the group page for all teams to see, you'll see all the comments, and they were all very happy and very grateful for your content and you sharing. And Melissa, we have a Sounds Delicious on there for you too, your recipe. But thank you so much for your time, Nadia, sharing your ups and downs, your successes, your trial and errors, and all of that, because I think that honestly, that's the best way all of us learn. And so I think we all need to know that we're all in this together, and it's not just you or me or whatever going through the ups and downs, because I think that's when we feel it gets the hardest. But I think what you said earlier about staying connected is the best way to kind of help you through that, because when we're having ups and downs, we connect and we realize, like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one that's going through it. And then you kind of just keep on pushing on, you know? So way to go for showing up, everybody, to the call. Like I said, I'm going to send out, you guys, I challenge you all to send this to your team members to watch. New team members, maybe people that are thinking about joining, that think that they don't know what they're doing. It shows that, you know, we all start from scratch and we don't know what the heck we're doing. And as long as we're willing to tap into training, try some things out, go through the ups and downs, the trial and errors, that as long as you're willing to fail forward, like Nadia said, that there's no way to fail, because you're just moving forward. So I hope you guys, and fail up. That's what she said. Fail up. I love that. Have a great night, you guys. Remember, Tuesdays, there's always the all consultant call if you register on your workstation. And if you're on live, you have a chance to get some free stuff from the Scentsy Success Store. It's at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, whatever that converts. We also have the Thursday night shift with Callie Petticord with the Group Make It Happen, and a Super Saturday call. There's tons and tons and tons of calls you can tap into. So whatever one, if you are able to make it, if you can make it live, you definitely won't regret it. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next Monday, same time. Bye, guys. Thanks, Nadia.